But on those leaders, like when I started fishing with Roger, I mean, he was using 3-4 foot leaders sometimes with these demon dragons and floats, and I'd never used a leader that long in my life. And but then as winter come in, and they started hanging more to the bottom, and we would literally catch these fish, and they'd be covered in mud. They just bury themselves down in there, and I think just their head is sticking out. I mean, that's the way I picture them.
Yeah, they had mud up to their backs.
Yeah, all over their back, and and then you're shorting your leader up to like maybe a foot, 16 or 18 inches to a foot. And sometimes for flatheads, that's what, you'll just have a short leader because you're getting it right down into the brush, and the longer that leader line is, more chance it's got to wrap up into stuff. So if you keep it short, it won't get hung up as bad.
Yeah, I was watching one of the videos today. You guys were fishing a warm water discharge. I think it was Roger, your personal best flathead or something that you caught. And did you guys ever figure out what that thing got wrapped around?
Not sure which video you're talking about.
Nah, not important, I guess.
Yep.
All the fish that he caught, and then it ended up coming loose, and he still ended up catching the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought it was hung. Yeah, I think that was just a blue
piper. Yeah, there's a pipe or something that, remember, it comes off that bank down through there. We marked it on the sonar. The funny thing is, and it doesn't make sense because the sonar works, when the water temperature outside is, our water temperature is 80 degrees, our monitors are just fine. But for some reason, when you're in 40-degree water and you move up into that warm water discharge and it goes up to 50-degree water, your fish finder does not work right. Everything goes red and blurry. It's weird. It's like, okay, so it's 50 degrees. Why are you not working? I don't get it, but you can't really see very well with that. So, we come up with, there was a pipe coming down off the bank. It looked like it went under the water, and I'm assuming that's what we got hung up on.
But the moral to that video was that Roger, it definitely seemed like he was hung, but he had a feeling that fish was still on there, and he waited it out, and the fish ended up getting itself unwrapped, and he landed the fish.
I watched the whole thing. I was on the edge of my seat thinking he was going to just cut his losses and get out of there, but kudos on him for sticking it out.
There's a lot of tricks when you get hung up, So, just putting tension on the line, sometimes it'll just aggravate them enough to move. Even if you're on the bank, you can put tension on the line or just, set the rod down. Sometimes releasing tension so that they can swim away and get out of it. Sometimes will work. But if you're in a boat and, you got a fish hung up in structure, instead of trying to pull that fish straight up to you, because as you try to pull him up, he's going to fight you 100% because he knows he's not supposed to be going up. But if you go to the side of him and try to pull him out and not up, you just, troll your motor away from that brush instruction, just kind of drag him out of it. He's more likely to follow you, and then you can get him up. But bringing him straight up out of the structure, right over top of him, a lot of times it's not going to end in your favor. But walking him out is something I just picked up not too long ago off of Larry Muse, and he's catfish legend. He's one of the pioneers, as far as ideas and strategies. And that's the cool thing about YouTube and cool thing about, the community anyways. There's all these people out there, and anyone I've ever tried to reach out to or talk to has always been more than willing to help. Yeah. Give you, ideas, tell you what to try, what to do. And it's there's like no secrets, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, and that's I was perusing through some of your videos where you were doing some of the expos. Those events are pretty helpful because there's some pros there that have been doing this for years that can give you guys a lot of help.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like when they brought up the deep water winter blue cats. Before YouTube was as big as it is now and all this information was around, always watched In Fisherman because they would cover all the fish, every fish, and every now and then they would do like a blue cat episode. Or they do everything. They do, even Doug Stange would do flatheads and stuff, and even on little bodies of water like I like to fish. But I remember one particular episode, they was in the winter, and they had like an underwater camera, and they showed all the catfish on the bottom, and they were literally just like huddled up in the mud together, and it was like they were literally buried. Just like you said, it's like just a piece of their body was sticking out,
like their head.
It was just staying warm, and then other catfish, you could see them swim up and lay on top of them. The ones that were all the way on the bottom, it's just a massive pile of them. But I think that they was in the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That's a lot larger population there. And granted, I was probably 11 when I watched it, so
pretty good. It's still stuck with you.
I don't know why I remembered that, but I don't know. I guess it was just really fascinating to see all those giant fish at that, just hanging out there, and then they was just smacking them like you would some channel cat in Paint Creek. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's there's a lot of. What is it?
That is something that they say a lot of times too in the winter. Yeah. Especially the blue cats, they will stack up like that. And if you watch that one video with Herb Everhart on Muskrat Adventures there with Roger, he landed 340 pounders back to back
at the same time. They were all three in the boat at the same time.
It was crazy.
I watched that. Yeah, I was shocked.
Yes,
that's a good day of fishing.
Yes, it was for Herb Everhart. It was.
I was a little salty. I didn't at least get one of them, but
well, see, that's when you got to do what my buddies threatened to do to me. We went bass fishing one time, and I don't know. I just had it. I was on fire, and we were in separate boats. And my buddy radioed over to us and said, "Hey, Zach," and I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He goes, "You better thank your lucky stars I'm not in that boat with you, because I'd drown your ass right now."
Yeah, it gets that way every now and then.
Yeah. Roger, do you guide any, or do you just take your buddies out?
I just take buddies out. I've got some folks that want me to do that. For right now, I'm not entertaining that idea. I love to take people out. I love to take new people out. Kind of like what we said earlier. I think I can't remember who said it now, but not having the ability to get out there to big water and get that experience, and they end up at a pay lake. I try to offer that experience to as many people as I can, so that they don't have to go to a pay lake. And I just get tickled. I love teaching people, showing people. I don't know everything. I'll be the first to admit. I've been doing this for a little while, and I've got good resources, and I love seeing people catch fish.
Yeah, I mean, you're even taking some littler kids out, right? I seen, like, did you take your nephew out or something?
Oh yeah. I've got a couple nephews that love to fish. We end up mostly on the lakes. I like to keep the action pretty fast for them guys, to keep them busy and keep them entertained.
Sure.
I'm a softie for kids, disabled, veterans. I do a fishing event in Quincy, Illinois called Fishing for Freedom. It's my favorite event for the whole year. I look forward to that thing more than any other event. And it's basically taking veterans out fishing for the whole weekend. This organization will pay for these veterans to stay in a hotel. They furnish every meal. They pair you up with a boater, and they take you out catfishing and do a tournament.
Well, that sounds like
it costs them nothing. Get there. Once you get there, everything's paid for.
That's really great.
Even the boaters. So I learned about this a few years ago, and to be honest with you, I said it's always the first weekend of June, which got canceled this year due to the COVID.
I was going to try to do it too.
But they said, "Hey, you interested in coming down the first weekend of June and taking a veteran?" I said, "Man, I'd love to." I said, "But that's my daughter's birthday, man, and she's turning 13. It's kind of a big deal." And they said, "Well, does your daughter like to fish?" I said, "Well, yeah, she loves to fish." "Well, bring her with you." I said, "Man, I don't know. She might go for that." I said, I don't know. I have to run it by the wife." And he said, "Was your wife like to fish?" And I said, "Yeah, my wife loves to fish." "Well, bring her with you." I said, "You going to bring my whole family out there?" He said, "Yeah." He said, well, do you know any veterans or do you know anybody? I said, my father-in-law is a 24-year veteran, Vietnam veteran at that. He said, does he like to fish? I said, he loves to fish. He said, bring your father-in-law. He'll be your veteran, and your family could be the boaters, and we'll take care of everything. And they did. As a matter of fact, when we got to the hotel, they had it decorated with balloons and banners, happy birthday to my daughter. When we went to the meet and greet, because, not everybody knows their boater already.
Right.
Yeah. When we got to the meet and greet, they had her a cake and sang her happy birthday with about 700 people.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What was the name of this organization again?
This organization is called Fishing for Freedom. This one I'm involved with is in Quincy, Illinois. I believe there's another one in Texas, but
New York too. I've heard.
Is there New York?
I've heard.
So there's a couple of them. Quincy, Illinois is the one that got me sold. And
It's not always catfish. Sometimes it'll be bass.
no, this tournament was bass, crappie, or catfish. You could choose your species, whatever species you wanted to target. My father-in-law, he loves crappie. Man, he just loves the crappie. And so even though it was killing me not to go fish the Mississippi for catfish, I took him crappie fishing because that's what he likes.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, our first trip, I never got to pre-fish. I never even seen the lake because somehow I picked up a nail in my tire, and we spent that whole day. We was trying to pre-fish, trying to find a tire for my truck is an odd size, and a big storm rolled in. We never got to see the water till the day of the tournament. And we put in and we just started fishing. We was like, well, you know what, guys, let's just have some fun, catch some fish. So we did. We went, caught fish. We weighed in. We was in first place. And we didn't end up winning. Somebody beat us, but we were pretty close to the top. I can't remember if we was third or fifth off the top of my head. It was 2 or 3 years ago. But it was our first time ever going. And we're like, holy cow. It was pretty impressive. A couple of guys had never even seen the water before. It's a 7-8 hour drive for me.
Right.
But
Sounds like it's worth it.
They have a ceremony. I'll try not to go on about this, but they have a ceremony on that Saturday night. That is, you could hear a pin drop in the room, and there's 1,000 people or more, 1,500 people in this room. And as they go through this ceremony for, a lost soldier remembrance that they go through, oh man, there's not a dry eye in the room, and you could hear a pin drop, just by how deep that they reach out for their, gratefulness and servicemen and women, past and present.
But that sounds like a good organization.
Very good.
There needs to be more places like that.
And it doesn't take, you don't have to be a big, you don't have to be a big organization. I just talked to a guy yesterday in Indiana, Joe, 812.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I'm thinking about putting together a little tournament, catfishing for cops. We go up here, we all get together and we take a cop out. There's a lot of bad stuff going on right now, but there's a lot of good people out there that, are not getting treated fairly. And he said, I don't know how you feel about cops. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. When somebody kicks in my front door, I'm calling 911. I want somebody to show up.
Yeah.
I said, I'd be more than happy to take a cop out. And so, we're talking 10, 20 boats. It don't have to be a big thing to make a big impact. More small little things getting together, adds up.
Absolutely. I mean, everything like that starts somewhere.
Right. Yep. You're right. It was his idea. He just called me and asked me if I'd be a part of it. And I said, I'd love to. You just tell me when and where.
Yeah. You also did the 2019 Monsters on the Ohio, didn't you?
Yep. Did that.
How'd you end up placing in that?
We didn't do very well.
Well, I noticed the video is only 2.5 minutes, so I figured there's some footage you cut out.
Well, I hadn't got a GoPro at that point. I was just playing around with my phone. I didn't even know I didn't even post it until I think after I decided I was going to do YouTube. I just did it to do it, have it. But yeah, I think we only caught like 3 fish. We had it all game planned out. We went down 2 days early. We pre-fished, man. We found a honey hole. It was stacked full of fish, and we just threw a line or two in just to see if they'd hit. They'd hit, so we got out. I'm not